we're going to get to Carolina Hurricanes public address voice Wade Minter. But first, let's go back to last night and take you inside the arena in Raleigh, North Carolina. Wade Minter joining us from Raleigh, North Carolina, the public address announcer for the Carolina Hurricanes. That was last night. I saw that this morning on Twitter as I'm getting ready for the show. I watch it again. It gives me chills. I can only imagine what it did for you inside the building.
It was amazing. We've had about 5,000 fans in the building for the last third or so of the season, and they've been doing the work of 10. I've seen the building completely full. I've heard how loud it's been. The 12,000 fans we had in there were doing the work of 20. And it was, after the year and a half that we've had and everything we've been through, amazing to see the towels waving, the people getting loud. Really emotional moment.
It's got to make your job easier too, right? That's what you do it for, right? To get a crowd excited. I mean, were you doing the same job in an empty building?
Absolutely. At the start of the season, there was a handful of players, kind of friends and family, but I was sitting 10 rows back of the penalty boxes with my microphone and a makeshift table and doing the whole show for nobody. And I had to really kind of change my approach and make it a little more TV friendly because that's where everyone was watching from. But it is a spooky feeling hearing your voice echoing around an empty arena and seeing the players on the ice and hearing that every play at the blue line is offside. I didn't know that until there were no fans in the building. And so it's been a journey this year.
You can't do it the same, though, right? I mean, when there's nobody in the building. So we had the hub in Regina for the Western Hockey League, and I was listening to different radio play-by-play calls throughout the hub, and the announcers, I mean, they're in an empty building, so they hear their own voice echoing. They're calling the game differently. There's less excitement because it's almost like you're trying not to be too loud because this is a library and everybody can hear me, and I don't want to be too, it's kind of weird. When there's a full building, you can almost yell into the mic, right? I mean, that's kind of got to be the same feeling, and last night you could let it loose.
Absolutely. It is a very different feeling when you're there and there's either nobody or just a handful of folks, and the acoustics are different and the reaction of the crowd is different. But last night with 12,000 people in the building, all yelling their hearts out, it felt like real playoff hockey in Raleigh again. And I hadn't felt that since 2019.
So what's it like in Raleigh, in the community in North Carolina? Wide open in terms of COVID restrictions, in terms of getting back to normal, wearing masks, not wearing masks? Where's Carolina? We went to Nashville yesterday. We went out to Nashville on the video call, and they're wide open too. So same thing in Carolina?
Very similar. We've probably got about a half the population's had at least one shot. As you get into adults, that gets a little bit higher. But Governor Roy Cooper, a huge Caniac who sounded the siren for us last night, has basically said, if you're vaccinated, you can be inside, outside, without a mask. If you're not, honor system, you need to continue to wear one. And I think you're seeing a mix of businesses and events here in town that say, we're wide open, come in however, or, we're still requiring masks at the business level. And I think by and large, people are doing their best to respect it. I mean, people have been cooped up for a year and a half now. It's certainly taken a toll on everybody kind of psychologically. But, with the vaccine supply available, the Canes were actually running a vaccine clinic inside the arena last night. I think that we're taking a step towards normalcy.
At the NHL level, as a public address announcer, how much do you get to watch the game and follow the game? And how much are you, calling goals and assists? And are you doing sponsor reads and any of those other elements where, okay, most of your job is, okay, I'm getting the next read lineup, waiting for the next commercial? Or how much can you actually follow what's going on the ice?
I spend a lot of time watching the game. Their goals and penalties. I've got a few scheduled reads. We're kind of doing about half of our normal show in terms of sponsor reads because things are still a little bit on the weird side. So I do have a little bit more time available to watch the games. I'm kind of up there as a spotter for the production crew, telling them what I see. it was a lot easier to do when I was between the penalty boxes at ice level. Now I'm up at media level because of the league's COVID protocols. But I do get a chance to watch a lot of the game, watch the crowd, kind of get a sense of how things are flowing, which informs how I present my announcement to the crowd. So I try to be as in tune with the game as the fans are to give them a good experience.
So that being said, the reason I ask is, what are your thoughts recapping that Game 1 win by the Hurricanes?
Really glad to have Jacob Slavin and some of our other regulars back. The team it's a really good team. And I think going 10 years without the playoffs in Raleigh from 2009 to 2019, there's a little bit of PTSD from the fans. Like, are we actually good? Are we going to be disappointed again? And I think people are finally starting to realize that, yes, this is an exceptionally good team. This is a cup contender. And, you can kind of relax and enjoy watching them play. And you felt that a little bit in the first couple periods. Nashville jumped out to an early lead. Canes tied it up. It was kind of neck and neck there for a little bit. But the Canes talent opened it up in the third period, and you build a comfortable lead, and you could kind of feel a just general exhale from the crowd that, all right, Game 1, we can do this. It's a really fun team to watch. They're balanced up and down the lines. They've made some changes in the roster, I think, to address some shortcomings that they found in the bubble last year. And I think this team, if they play well, is a legit cup contender.
It could have went either way, right? When that game was tied and the Canes were playing really well, that 2-on-1, when you see Saros made that save, but the play continued and it led to the go-ahead goal, I think that was the game, right? I mean, you're playing well, but you're in a tie game, and Nashville's kind of finding a way to stay in it. And it could be like, what do we got to do here? But you get that goal on the heels of a big save, and that almost broke the Preds, didn't it?
I think it did. Watching from up top, I was like, no, yes! And
right.
You feel the crowd kind of react to that. Trip Tracy, the Canes color analyst and consummate wielder of the shovel, had a similar take on it during the post-game radio broadcast last night, in that, he played goalie and said, as a goalie, if you make a big save like that, what you want to do is get to the next whistle so you can enjoy the save, get your confidence. And Saros made an amazing save on a point-blank shot, but didn't manage to get to that next whistle. The Canes broke him on a nice bounce, and it seemed like just kind of the air went out of the team at that point. So I do think you're right. That was a turning point for the game. It was all Canes from that point on.
William Works is watching on Facebook, says Stahl was a monster last night for the Canes. Yeah, it was. That goal from just outside the goal line, I mean, to go upstairs like that. The building, must have hit the roof, right?
Yeah, my wife was sitting basically parallel to the goal line down on the glass, and she had a great view of it, and she was texting me like, how did that go in? And I think a great story for the Canes this year is the resurgence of Jordan Stahl. He's always been the guy you send out to have the toughest matchups as a forward. He's your shutdown forward. He's the guy you trust to take a face-off in the most challenging situations. But over the past few years, he hasn't really been a producer on the offensive side of the score sheet. And he's really had a career renaissance this year. 38 points, 16 goals, consummate leader on and off the ice. And I think that his play elevates the rest of the people around him. It gives you a third line that's now a threat to score, as opposed to just being a shutdown checking line. And 2 goals in Game 1. What more can you ask for the guy?
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, unbelievable stuff. What's it like in Carolina now in terms of the hockey market? How much are you getting asked about the team as you're going around town? How much are people talking hockey? A little bit north and a little extension, but I think we're going to see that starting to come more and more in Florida. This great series with the Panthers and the Lightning that's a game old, but it just seems to captivate the market. Is it growing? Are we seeing that impact of Canes hockey?
Absolutely. 3 straight years of playoffs is translating to a lot of interest in the community. Everyone's getting on board. There are 3 very distinct cities in the Triangle area. There's Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill, and each of them are embracing the team. You're seeing Canes memorabilia across the state. And I think that after being shut in and sports being as weird as it's been for the past year and a half, people want something to rally around, and the team, as successful as they've been, Central Division champs, 3rd in the league overall, is giving the community something that they can rally behind, especially as the playoff runs coinciding with a reopening of a lot of the the restrictions. It's a way for people to let off all of that pent-up energy for the past year and a half. And, the Canes opened a new practice facility near the airport during the pandemic, and that's already full of youth and adult hockey teams playing. The youth programs are blowing up here. We're having kids from the area getting drafted. The 20-some years of the Canes in the community, I think, has bred a really loyal and excited hockey market here.
Just looking, PNC Arena, 18,680 for hockey capacity. When do you think we'll see sold out?
That's a good question. The original plan was wait until June 1st and see kind of how things are going. The CDC here in the U.S. changed their guidance a week or so ago, which led to us being able to have 12,000 fans in the building as opposed to just 5. It wouldn't shock me if the Canes continued on a playoff run that, you might see something change in the second or third round. You might have full capacity if things continue to go well and people keep getting their shots and being responsible. You could have a packed building at that point. The league is mandating a certain amount of airflow in the building, and it could be that if we add a few more airflow units in the building, that's the thing that opens it up. But, the appetite is there, and we're hoping to have a full house as soon as possible.
Unbelievable stuff. I'm going to watch that video in a loop all afternoon, by the way. Wade,
it'll get you hyped.
Yeah, no, it does. I appreciate this. I'm jealous. I'm envious that you're in that building to watch playoff hockey. We'll watch it on TV for now, but I appreciate you taking some time. And hopefully we can catch up during a long Canes playoff run.
Absolutely. I'm always glad to virtually cross the border and see y'all, so thanks for having me on.
Great stuff. Wade Minter joining us from Raleigh, North Carolina, public address announcer of the Carolina Hurricanes. Yeah, 12,000 Caniacs in the building last night for the 5-2 win over the Nashville Predators.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.